Hey Saners, welcome to the round 21 review. I think it was 84 points or 85 points to the Lions, if you couldn't tell by my facial expression. A proper pantsing, a proper absolute thumping, an example, a show of the way football should be played, and an absolute class outfit that are in very, very good form. I probably underrated their form coming into tonight, but they really, put that to bed pretty quickly. And all of our shortcomings, I guess the quick summary in this review is all of the shortcomings of our team, all of the key areas that we are lacking came to the surface in this game. The lack of class, and I've not seen our midfield. I've seen our midfield play poorly this season, obviously, but our midfield got absolutely smashed. And not just they were getting clearances and they weren't doing it. Their clearances were just waltzing out, not being able to tackle, clean ball to Danaher. We all got excited when we saw Hipwood was laid out and thought, great. And it didn't really matter in the end. It didn't matter. Our forward line was nowhere near as functional as last week and the week before. Their pressure was good, Brisbane, but we were way off. We didn't show up. We didn't show up. The amount of ball out the back that they got, even after sustained pressure by us, I couldn't believe that all it was this was like under 12 stuff where they would just draw the man, handball over the top, draw the next man, handball over the top, draw the next man, go long, goal. I couldn't believe how easy some of the goals were, and I think the tone was set where pretty early on, Dougal Howard made a mistake, they kick a goal from it. Riley Bonner, turnover, they kick a goal from it. Sharman, Caminiti, Membry didn't spread, didn't utilise each other's space. And anytime we went long, which was pretty much for the whole game, the ball would hit the ground, and it was just Brisbane representation everywhere. We just weren't in it. We just weren't in the game. Like, it was as dead an atmosphere as I've felt at Marvel. It was cold. It was empty. It was quiet. To be fair, I can't blame them because there's not one part of the game where the boys really looked like they showed it. And even for the most part of the first quarter, it was only about 10 points the margin, 8-10 for a lot of it. But the writing was on the wall. I could feel it. I could feel it coming. Sometimes you can feel these things. And I had a feeling that if we don't put the score on the board, if we don't turn something on quickly, the Lions eventually are going to take hold of this game. And when the Lions take hold of games, they rip them from your grasp. They don't just jog to the finish line. They sprint to the finish line. They love feasting on a team that is not playing good football. And guess what? That was us today. I thought McLennan was actually good as a debut. I think Ryan Burns being laid out actually hurt us. And I'm going to call it out. I think the coaches got this one wrong. I think we should have played Tom Campbell in this one. We played him at the Gabba and it worked with Marshall and him together. And considering there was no Hipwood, Harris Andrews was returning, I feel like having Tom Campbell in the midfield, it would not have done us any disservice. We put Caminiti in there. Look what happened. We got hammered in there with Rowe in there, with Caminiti in there. We had Owens in the opening bounce, which was interesting, even though Ross only 2 weeks ago said that he's a forward, but then we're putting him into the midfield. Just a few weird things, mate. Like Brad Hill was at the centre bounce a few times. Riley Bonner was up on the wing. Wilson was then on the wing. Mason Wood played a lot deeper in this game, and we had no chop out midway from back to front. It just felt like we didn't need to make we didn't make many changes going into this game. Filippo, I thought, was actually really good. He got like his 20 and a goal. But, Rayner did his usual thing and destroyed us. The back half was uncharacteristically panicky, but I can imagine how much pressure was on them because of how many clearances Brisbane were getting. It's hard to blame the back line because they didn't have any chop out. They didn't have any support by the midfield at all. Steele, I didn't really notice him. Paddy Dow came on at halftime, didn't do anything. Zach Jones did a few nice things early and tried. Bit off a bit more than he could chew a couple of times, but there were a couple of nice passages where he hit a target and composed himself. But like I said at the top, I'm not sure whether to be really upset or just acknowledge that we are way off these teams. We are off Brisbane and these top teams that have absolutely star-studded midfields and a powerful forward line. and a very, very good backline with Harris Andrews returning today and being one of the best players on the ground, So I'm trying to look at it objectively and look at, okay, that's the benchmark. That's where we need to get to. How do we get there? What do we need to do? And that's the question that I'm asking you guys. How do we get to that level? What do we need to do? Some people have said, there was a guy on Twitter even before just said, and this is why we need to let Battle go. Because we need 2 first-round picks. We need to nail those because the midfield is the most pressing problem. McLennan's come in today, and he's actually looked all right. Ari comes in, he'll be fine in the back line. Dukes, Wilkie, they battled really hard today. But midfield is the most pressing part of the ground, and we are not going to be able to win these sort of games with that sort of structure. There wasn't, I can't remember one clean clearance that we got for the entire game. One. And I think the most damning thing is we've been number 1 for contested ball for about 10 weeks. And we got hammered in that part tonight. We were maybe 30 down at one point in contested ball, in clearances, inside 50 differential wasn't that great. But at the same time on the scoreboard, they were scoring at 50% going in. That's ridiculous. That's crazy numbers. I'm just fighting the urge to have that reaction where this game has undone all the good of the last maybe 4 or 5 weeks where we've actually played the game, taken it on. But we were way off. We didn't take the game on tonight. We were stagnant. This was us before the bye. This is the way we were playing before the bye. You go back to the Melbourne game at the G, the Bulldogs when they pantsed us here. That was the type of football that we were seeing. Last 5 weeks, we've not shown that type of football, and a lot of bad habits crept in again. So clearly there's so much work that needs to be done to get these habits out, to really lock down exactly the way we want to play. Because I thought if there's a way to beat Brisbane, it's to take the game on and play the way we've been playing. We didn't play that way. I don't know if they took it away from us. I didn't feel like, they defended well, but I feel like they were so on the attack that we just felt overwhelmed and we just couldn't handle that sort of pressure. Even though we laid more tackles in them, that's because we were chasing the game the whole time. So Wilson looked all right. The young kids looked all right. Naz had some good moments, had some poor moments. It just kind of hurts my head thinking about, they go from last week to this week and how it's just, that's the reality, I think, isn't it? We have to admit it. That's the reality of having the team that we have, is that we're going to have moments where it's going to be up and about and we're going to be playing beautiful football. And then there's teams like Brisbane that come to town and go, no, you're nowhere near the big boys yet. Get to work because we've got some business to attend to. And the business they did today was they took care of St Kilda and absolutely pantsed us, embarrassed us in front of our home fans. So I'm trying to be as objective as I can without turning this into a rant, because I feel like a rant's the easy way out, and I'm trying to be objective and look at what are the holes from our game plan, from our list that the Lions exploited, and there is many across the field, but the most damning one is the midfield that needs to be addressed, and the only way that can be addressed is internally. We can train players to be better. I think losing Hunter Clark and Ronnie Burns going into this game was absolutely enormous. I think that can't be understated how important Hunter Clark in that midfield would have been to change up that dynamic, and I dare say it, but geez, Max King would have been handy up forward today having a target. I think there's games like last week and the week before where having a mobile forward line works. But then there's also games where, damn, wouldn't you mind a big boy target? Wouldn't you mind someone to go long to and have a contest and then have the smalls rove instead of feeling like they need to go into the marking contest? Membry, Caminiti and Sharman too many times went at the same ball and contested it. What do they do then? It draws the defenders from Brisbane. They all go up for the one ball. The ball hits the deck. There's no Higgins and Butler representation because they're almost going for it too. And then Brisbane waltz it out. Pressure was minimal on the forward line. Around the ground, not bad. Forward line, they walked it out. End-to-end goals. Lost count of how many times that happened. So, reality check. Proper reality check. And a lot to take away from this game. A lot to learn. And plenty of areas that we need to address, not just in the short term, but in the long term to get anywhere near some of these top teams. So I dare say I'd rather a game like this where it puts everything on show and we know what we need to fix, even though we knew it already, than a game where maybe Brisbane are off and papers over the cracks. I want to know in the next 4 weeks playing Brisbane, Geelong, Carlton, exactly what needs to be fixed, because these games are going to show them. They're going to show the deficiencies more than ever. So I welcome that, but I know it's not for everyone. I know a lot of Sainers will be disappointed. I am very disappointed, and we've got Richmond next week, so let's see how they bounce back. That's the big thing. Let's see how the boys bounce back from a pantsing against a team they should beat and beat comfortably. Let's see the long-term effects. Can we get over it very quickly and bring our game next week and go back to playing that fast, effective football we've seen in the last month? Or are we going to let this sort of result just stay and fester with us and kind of just to the detriment to the rest of their season? Let's see how the boys respond, because to me, that'll say a lot about the internal culture that Ross says is so good. So comment your thoughts, Sainers. Let me know how you're feeling about that. Our biggest loss of the season, 85 points or 84 points against the Brisbane Lions at Marvel. They put on a clinic, and we've got the Tigers next week. Let's see how we go there. So thanks for watching, Sainers. Take care, and as always, go you mighty Sainers. Thanks, guys.